This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, welcome to the show. Hope your week is winding down on a positive note. As the man said, Kenny Bergamy, Ray DeLessio at your service. And this week we are diving into some serious issues facing the ag industry.
Yes, we are. And without further delay, here's what's coming up. Protecting your plate inside Georgia's Ag Testing Lab. From farm to fork, we'll show you how the Georgia Department of Agriculture ensures your food is safe. Facing tighter margins and rising costs, Georgia growers gear up for planting season. Damon Jones reports on the challenges and strategies that await them.
And then later, it's a raw, eye-opening conversation on the mental challenges farmers silently endure. The side of farming rarely seen, but one that demands our attention. These stories and so much more right now on the Farm Monitor. With a global population of over 7 billion, ensuring the safety of our food supply is paramount. John Holcomb reports on how the Georgia Department of Agriculture's testing lab works daily to safeguard our food supply.
Each and every day, farmers and producers work hard to produce food that will be feeding the state, country, and even world, which is why it's vitally important that it's processed and kept properly, which is where the Georgia Department of Agriculture's testing lab comes into play.
The labs are testing, particularly the food safety and microbiology lab, retail food, manufactured food. So our inspectors are out in these places making sure that food is safe and that folks are doing what they're supposed to. But they're also going to take a sample at that point to verify what they're seeing and what they're hearing as part of their inspection process. And what our labs are going to do is take that sample and test it for generally quality or other consumer protection items. Are there pathogens on it? And if so, what are they? So we can get that out of commerce. We can get it out of someone's food line so no one gets sick.
Crabtree says they're primarily testing for three main pathogens: Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria, three of the most harmful bacteria for humans to consume.
The reason we're doing that is that all of those are known pathogens that can make someone sick very quickly. So from you're very young to you're very old, and then everybody in between. So what we're going to do is make sure that any food that might have that, which these are natural bacteria in the environment, these things can get in there from many different ways, that if it's there, we're getting it out of the grocery stores. We're getting it out of manufacturing so that someone is not exposed to these and can get very sick. These pathogens can cause outbreaks. They can cause a lot of people to get very sick very quickly. And so we're going to make sure that we're testing to protect food in all walks of life from having those in there.
According to Crabtree, it's important that they work to be proactive rather than reactive, as the consequences of an outbreak can often be severe.
Prevention, we do that by having inspectors in many different places. So from where food is manufactured to the point you could pick it up at the grocery store. One, to make sure we're not on the back end, because the folks have already eaten it. If they're already sick, then we may not be able to find it. At that point, we may not be able to find the link and solve the issue if there's some temperature control or some other environmental aspect that we could help control or fix. So by being in the front, being on the prevention side, we can get it off shelves very quickly. We can get that control fixed, assist those manufacturers, assist those retailers with not having the issue again. The backside of being reactive is you miss a lot of things. You miss getting that out, getting the public informed, getting recalls issued if that's going to be the case. And folks are already sick. You may have already had some fatalities, unfortunately. And we want to be in front of that, not reacting to it in the back. You can't, you always have to play catch up if you're reacting after the fact instead of being out in front. We like to be offensive instead of defensive.
Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Meantime, newly released results from the 2022 Census of Agriculture paint a clear picture of the status of farming and ranching in the U.S. American Farm Bureau Federation Chief Economist Roger Cryan says the census offers a wealth of data across all of agriculture and shows there are fewer farmers and ranchers in business in 2022 compared to the previous census conducted in 2017.
We've got 141,000 fewer farms than we did 5 years ago, 20 million fewer acres farmed than we had 5 years ago. As the world rolls forward, it's really important to have enough land to produce the ever-growing needs of the world. That's one of the reasons why Farm Bureau is so supportive of conservation programs that focus on working land. And it's one of the reasons why the Farm Bill itself is so important to help farmers keep getting through the tough years so that they can keep producing in the long run.
Staying in Washington, the annual chickens and eggs report from USDA shows the U.S. chicken inventory up 1% from a year ago and egg production down slightly. American Farm Bureau Federation economist Bert Nelson says the report comes as nearly all protein sectors, including beef, pork, and lamb, are forecasted for smaller inventories for 2024 and beyond. Additionally, Nelson says the report, along with data from the 2022 Census of Agriculture, highlights the importance of the next Farm Bill.
The Farm Bill is a safety net that helps remove some of that risk. It keeps our farmers farming and continuing to the next generation. When we are facing the decrease in the number of farms and the increasing average age of a farmer, this safety net is imperative to not just secure food for our nation and world, but to secure an affordable food supply. Keeping our farmers farming ultimately results in better prices for our consumers at the grocery store.
As planting season looms closer, farmers are bracing for tough financial decisions in anticipation of a challenging year ahead.
Yeah, Damon Jones now highlights the hidden expenses and profit-turning strategies crucial for navigating these uncertainties.
With net farm income projected to fall in 2024, growers around Georgia are once again facing the task with doing more with less heading into planting season. And that is especially true for two of the state's most important crops.
Certainly cotton, I think margins are going to be really tight in terms of cotton. Cost of production is still high. It has come down since 2023, but it's still high and cotton prices are down. Really because global demand is down for cotton and cotton products. So the outlook is not for much growth there just because of overall slowdown in the global economy. For peanuts, I think they just need to be careful to watch how many total acres are planted. We had a big increase in acres planted for the U.S. last year, and so we don't need to see a repeat in that size percentage increase.
Despite the fact that prices for fertilizer, fuel, and pesticides have leveled off, the costs of growing and harvesting crops are once again expected to reach record levels, thanks in large part to an expense many don't associate with farming.
They're having to pay interest rates on that operating note. And the reason that interest rates are a big issue is because they've changed so much really rapidly. So 2022 interest rates were probably, around 5% or so. 2023, we're looking about 8.75, 8.5%. And there's not going to be a change to the downside for 2024. So interest expenses basically are nearly doubled from one year to the next. And that's a big change when you're talking about margins that are usually pretty thin anyway.
With that in mind, there is one major expense growers around the state should pay particularly close attention to when setting their budget for the upcoming season.
One big thing that they need to be looking at this year is how much they're paying for land rent. Because we can see, looking at the budgets and estimated costs that we are projecting, that there's opportunities to have a positive cash flow on owned land, but it might be more difficult on rented land, depending on how high that cash rent is per acre.
So, while the outlook might not be exactly what farmers are hoping for, there are some steps they can take to help weather the storm. And it all begins with planning ahead.
Take a look at the tools that are available for you. There's enterprise budgets available online, a crop comparison tool that Extension puts together. Take a look at that, plug in your costs and your yields so you can have an idea of what your cost of production is per acre, and then see if you can forward price at prices above that. So keep an eye out on the market, be in touch with your buyers, and see when you can take opportunities to make sure that you've got a positive margin.
Reporting from Tift County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, if you're ready to explore the amazing world of agriculture, either on your phone or computer screen, the Farm Monitor has you covered. Check out our website, farm-monitor.com, for engaging articles and videos. And also, there's our YouTube channel, where you can catch up on missed episodes and past stories. From inspiring farmer profiles to deep agricultural insights, there is something for everyone, and the archive goes as far back as 2009.
After the break, discover the untold stories of mental health in agriculture, where resilience meets vulnerability. Matt Berry, a Georgia farmer and mental health advocate, and his wife Alicia open up about their personal journey and the daily battles faced by farm families nationwide.
We come from a long line of farmers, and there's a sense of pride with being part of these multi-generational businesses. But there's also a significant amount of pressure. My senior year of high school, my dad made the decision that this world no longer needed him in it. I don't know if he was overwhelmed by the bills and checks that weren't going to be coming in because of the strawberries dying off, but it breaks my heart that my dad made a permanent decision for a temporary issue. Don't feel like you have to go through it alone.
Farmers have to take care of their physical and their mental health, because what's a farm without a farmer?
In the mornings, that's my time. Watching the sun come up, I can have a cup of coffee and exercise if I want to. It helps me start the day with a sense of gratitude.
Yay!
Every day is a new opportunity. Don't forget to check in on yourself. Love your mind.
Startling statistics from the National Rural Health Association. Farmers face a 3.5 times higher risk of suicide compared to the general population. In response, Georgia Farm Bureau, American Farm Bureau, and others are taking action to shed light on the mental health challenges that are plaguing the ag industry. But it doesn't stop there. So are farmers like Sumter County cattleman Matt Berry. Recently, the Monitor traveled to Matt's farm to help us better understand the efforts being made to address this pressing issue and provide support where it's most needed. Matt, I've heard so many people tie your name to the stress on the farm and mental health challenges.
Yes.
How did you become such an interested party and an advocate for mental health with farmers?
Well, growing up, my mom and daddy didn't farm. It skipped a generation with my parents. My family has farmed for years. The farm we own on the other side of America's great-granddaddy bought it in 1928 was when he bought it finally outright. And so I understood what mental health was through my father, who suffered from PTSD, my mother, who suffered from some depression through the years, not knowing how to deal with his stuff going on, and his was related to being in the service during Vietnam era, and we didn't know what it was. And I've watched people over the years in farming go through things. I personally have suffered from issues over the years that have had, you name it, I've seen it.
Tell me about your life experiences when it comes to this. What kind of impact did it have on you with your mental health?
Well, through the years, I started from, I don't want to say nothing because that sounds like I'm going, whoo, it's me, but I started from scratch, let's put it that way, where I sharecropped into it with different producers in the industry. They come alongside me. My daddy died when I was 13, so agriculture come alongside me with the producers, women and men in the industry, and said, hey, we want to help you get started, because I've had an interest in it. My daddy, that's what we did growing up, was helped whoever, whenever, and however. It was a community, and somehow in farming we've got away from that community and become so isolated in its size of operations and what we do in a day-to-day life. And that, I think, I'm not a professional, but I think that contributes to some of this that we're suffering from now, is a lack of unity. Tell me, on
weekly basis, monthly basis, how often does signs of stress crop up in Matt, for instance? And then how do you help him cope with those kinds of things?
I would say daily, if I'm being honest. Before in our marriage, I don't think that he showed me that stress. He tried to hide it because most farmers do want to be strong for their families. They know that they're the provider for the family. They're supposed to be the head of the household. They're not supposed to let anything get them down, and they're not supposed to show it. I think a lot of them are ashamed. I think it thinks that, they think that they're showing weakness when they do that. But when he finally let me in, let me know his story, I can see it every day. One little phone call is all it takes, and we try to talk throughout the day. We send each other text messages, little funny memes that I think that he'll, find funny, maybe bring a little bit of joy to a stressful day. But I know by that phone call, is he having a good day? Is he having a bad day? What do I need to do when I get home? And I know that I've nonchalantly asked how he's doing when he gets home at the end of the day. You're not really paying attention. You're in there busy. You're trying to cook supper. You're trying to clean up. You've got things to do as well. But I can tell when I need to just sit down and listen. And sometimes that's all he needs. You just have to keep it simple.
What do you think caused this isolation you talk about? Is it technology today and we've become so removed because of that, or is it other things that are going on in society?
A little bit of both, I believe. We're size of operations. Years ago, if you were 1,000 acres, you were probably large. Now it's multi-thousand acres. So you run from can to can. You run from, you hear people say I'm running 24 hours a day. They truly are. You might be in the field working, running the tractor all day and then irrigating all night. You get cat naps all summer. With cattle, they eat 365 days a year. We're having to feed them or manage them every day of the year. So size of operations probably played a part in that. The lack of workforce, I would imagine. There's not many people that want to come to the farm and work now. And that's unfortunate because there's not a better life in the world than this. And if you ever get anybody to the farm, that's what they'll say is, man, this is great. This is awesome. How do you get to do this every day? Well, you can do it too. It's just a matter of being committed to what we do.
Just some incredible insights. And we invite you to join us next week for part 2 as Matt dives deeper into his personal struggles, shedding light on how injuries, like the one he's currently recovering from, can trigger bouts of depression among farmers. Plus, Alicia discusses her role on the Georgia Farm Bureau's Women's Committee and how she's leveraging her position to raise awareness and combat mental health issues in agriculture.
And folks, just so you know, if you or someone you love is struggling with mental health issues, help is only a click away. Log on to farmstateofmind.org. Everything is right there. The Farm Family Wellness Alliance, the 988 Lifeline. So many resources now available. Again, that's farmstateofmind.org. When we come back, unlocking the secrets of everyday life, from the food we eat to life-saving technologies. USDA Science tackles global challenges like feeding a growing population and combating climate change.
Did you know agriculture science plays a key role in many things you use in your everyday life? This includes everything from the food you eat to the clothes you wear, to many household items and even some life-saving technologies. USDA Science is the cornerstone of many revolutionary inventions that enable Americans in the world to lead safer, more nutritious, and more prosperous lives. Stay with us, and we'll share how USDA Science is transforming American agriculture and spurring global innovation. You have a major role to play, and we invite you to join us on this journey. We know research, innovation, and use are the keys to solving some of the world's most complex challenges, like feeding a growing population that's expected to exceed 9 billion people by 2050, and tackling the impacts of a rapidly changing climate, safeguarding our valuable plants and animals from emerging pests and diseases, and protecting our nation's natural resources and biodiversity. This requires all of us to be all in. We need the brightest minds working together. We need you. In May 2023, USDA released the Science and Research Strategy, which presents USDA's vision for transforming our food and agricultural systems. The strategy outlines USDA's highest scientific priorities to tackle tough challenges. These priorities support USDA's commitment to help communities thrive, help farmers and producers better nourish Americans while generating income and preserving our nation's natural resources. Accelerating innovative technologies and practices is key to this work. We'll need to rapidly develop and deploy innovative, resilient, usable technologies and practices that help farmers and communities thrive. This requires cutting-edge science spanning disciplines, including biotechnology, precision agriculture, artificial intelligence, and robotics to bring bold, cost-effective solutions to our nation's producers and consumers. This requires your voice. Together, we can advance new information, technologies, and tools that open new markets and create opportunities. To drive climate-smart solutions to tackle our worsening climate crisis, we must invest in research that is co-developed with the public. We know that there's potential for producers to benefit from climate-smart agricultural practices that improve their bottom line and improve climate resilience. It's our responsibility to provide the most current scientific data to weather the storm and to monitor and measure climate impacts and protect our planet. And this requires you. Bolstering nutrition security and health for all Americans is not only a necessity, it's the right thing to do. Today, 6 in 10 Americans have at least one chronic disease, and 4 in 10 people have 2 or more chronic diseases. Many of these diseases are largely preventable through proper nutrition and healthy lifestyle. USDA recognizes that food and health are connected, and we're ensuring Americans have access to safe, nutritious, affordable food for optimal health and well-being. We're looking for community partners like you to help us develop relevant, timely information that addresses the unique needs of many diverse U.S. communities we serve. We only have one planet, and cultivating resilient ecosystems is key to protecting it. USDA is using science-based solutions to ensure the plant, animal, aquatic, and human life make our nation's ecosystems are productive, sustainable, and resilient. We're all connected, and every living organism plays an important part in ensuring our planet thrives. By improving our ability to respond to plant and animal disease threats and improving biodiversity by protecting our natural resources, we're leaving a living, thriving legacy for generations to come. So, what do we do with this wealth of scientific information? How do we translate it into action? Well, it starts by watching this video and sharing it with your community. We need you to join us on this journey. Whether you're working in food, agriculture, or other industry, are a farmer, ranger forester, or producer, are a community leader or youth educator, or simply want to make a difference, we hope that you will join us in advancing and scaling solutions to these challenges. Visit our website or email us for more information about partnership opportunities. Join the USDA Science movement and make a difference by harnessing change.
Absolutely, every little bit helps. Hey, before we go, I want to remind you that we now have a podcast hosted and produced by John Holcomb. The Growing On podcast is all about keeping you in the loop with the latest agricultural news, issues, and topics right here in Georgia. Tune in to the latest episode by visiting GFB's website or platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play.
Yes, definitely check that out. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Stay safe and have a good week.